In today's video, we're checking out a live switching solution from the folks over at CineTreak. This is their Stream 1. And guess what? I'm using it right now. Let's get into it. Welcome back, folks. My name's Shane. In today's video, we're checking out the CineTreak Stream 1. Now, this is a live switcher and live streaming solution that allows you to go live to the web. It will be detected as a webcam, and it also has recording capability. And you're looking at the recording quality right now. This is a 1080p switcher only in terms of its output, but it can accept a 4K up to 30p signal into input number 1 and 2. So if you're going to be running, say, 2 high quality cameras in here, at least you'll have the benefits of a 4K signal going into it. 3 and 4 are set up so it's HD only. Now, this has a maximum output frame rate of 60 frames per second. So if you're doing any type of podcast or gaming, for example, this would be a really great choice. The CineTreak Stream 1 reminds me very heavily of the ATEM Mini Pro. It shares a lot of the same features. You're able to record, stream directly out of the unit. It has an Ethernet port. It has 4 HDMI inputs, some auxiliary inputs, mic inputs, all that kind of stuff. It's a very powerful unit overall. And the functionality of this really sets it apart from some of the other switches that I've reviewed. Now, clearly looking at this, there's one thing missing. That's right, there's no screen. If you want one with a screen, this won't be the unit for you. But I have to tell you, after using this now for a while, there's a lot to like about it in terms of its overall functionality and setup. Before we get into this video, massive thanks to CineTreak for sending this out for the review. I really appreciate it. This will be an overview of how the system works. These units are so full of different things, so I highly advise you checking out a few different review videos on this, but I'm going to do my best to cover the basics. We'll go through the transitions, the picture-in-picture modes, how to Chroma Key, all that kind of stuff, and we'll talk about whether or not it's good for podcasting and all that kind of stuff towards the end of the video. Odds are this video is going to be quite long, so if you want to skip ahead, back or forth, I'll leave some timestamps down in the description. Please leave a thumbs up if you can, or if you find this video helpful. It really helps my channel get found. Drop a comment down there as well if you're feeling like an absolute legend. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. On the back of the unit, we get 4 HDMI inputs. There's a preview and program output. Now, I'm recording the preview output so you can get a good sense of what it looks like, and I'll show you that on screen. That's being recorded externally, and you're looking at the quality of the recording directly from the Stream 1 right now versus my Panasonic S5 Mark II X. I'll put them up side by side. Now, my camera is recording at 4K, but the internal recording on this actually looks quite good. It doesn't crush the blacks or do anything funny to the dark section of the image like a lot of other switches do. So I'm very impressed with the video recording quality. Like all of my reviews of switches and live streaming solutions, I like to use them in the video, but I am recording independently on a few cameras. So if you see something not match the buttons, that's what's going on. I might have forgot to switch or whatever. So I've got my program monitor right here, which is my clean feed. And over here, I have the multi-view or preview output. Now, there's a few ways you can use this unit. One of the cool things about it is we get quick switching. So we can literally just push the buttons on the unit like this, and it will switch very fast. The program row is along the top, and the preview is across the bottom. Let's take a look at some of the transitions. So the way to set up a transition is all I have to do is say, set the program to 2 and 1, for example. Then I can use the T-bar and I can transition between them. I can also leave it set in the center if I want to do that as well, or I can move it really quickly and have it do the transition nice and fast. But the cool thing with this is there's plenty of different ones to choose from here. That was just mix. Let's try this one right here. I'm just going to do the same 2 scenes so you can get a good sense of how it works. It's pretty cool. Let's try this one. This is a down wipe. So even if I push up on the T-bar, it's always going to go down on that one. Let's try this one over here. These always look a little bit like early 90s transitions for me. I'm not sure why you would really use these for a live stream. You know, hard cuts are generally preferred unless you may be doing something a little bit more cinematic, but I'll just show you a couple more here. I'm gonna go over to this box one, see what this looks like. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think of these, and there's plenty of other ones to choose from. And by the looks of it here, if you go back into this menu, you can change the duration of the transition if you're not using the T-bar. That's pretty cool. There's a softness and a fade to black option as well. So if you want to fade to black, you absolutely can do that. There's a fade to black button right here, and I'll push it. To get out of the fade to black, just hit it again and you'll be back to where you were. Let's take a look at the multi-view or preview window, and I'm recording it right over here. So as you can see, PGM is program. That's what's going out to the audience. If I switch by using the program row here, it's going to switch on the box on the right. Now, if I want to queue up, say scene number 3 here, and then do a switch via the T-bar, this is what you see on the multi-view. So it's very intuitive like that. And now you can see that scene 3 is on that. I can switch back like this, or of course I can just use the buttons on the unit itself. As you can see, looking at the lower left-hand side here, it says auxiliary. Now, the great thing about this particular switcher is it can support playback through media, which is awesome. And this one's built in, so it was nice and simple. Now, to get into your auxiliary, if you're using a USB stick, for example, all you need to do is hit this auxiliary button. Now, when I hit this, I've unfortunately set this up so the audio from that track is going to go over my voice, but I'm just going to hit it so you can see what happens. And take note of the multi-view. So there you go. As you can see, I can bring up a video as sort of like a 5th channel. I really like it. Now I'm going to show you how picture-in-picture works. So what I've done, I've got number 4 on program set to the video game footage, and I've got number 1 set for me. So all I need to do is find picture-in-picture 1 and hit on air above it. Boom, I'm on screen, which is fantastic. Now, the beauty of this particular system is you can fully customize the picture-in-picture size, the crop, all that kind of stuff. But I love the fact if you hold down picture-in-picture 1 for a moment and start moving the joystick around, that you can fully customize the position of this on the screen. So if you want to do a moist critical over here and have it sort of like in the middle, even though he has his on the left-hand side, I think, you can do that. Hit picture-in-picture 1 again, and you're in business. The beauty of this system is you can have up to 2 pictures in pictures. So if you want to have another one, you can just simply use the second on-air button and you can move them around wherever you like. So it's really powerful. Now, within the menu system of the unit here, we also have a whole bunch of different picture-in-picture options. So you can see that picture-in-picture 1 is set to 1/4 right now, which means it's just going to take up 1/4 of the real estate on screen. You can also set a custom width and height, and you can also crop it. What I've found is don't mess with this unless you really need to narrow the sides of your frame, and then it's okay, but it can be a little bit confusing. But just start out with the default settings, and I think you'll find something that you like. Let's talk about the audio capabilities with this, because there's a lot to like about it. On the top over here, we have our 4 inputs, channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have an on option, which enables it. And then we've got an audio follows video. Now, audio follows video means anytime I make a switch, the audio is going to go to that camera. Now, that's okay in certain situations, but not for podcasting or gaming, for example. So just leave the option on here set to on, and then you can fully adjust the volume of each channel. So I've got channel 1 active right now. If I want to bring up or down the volume, you can see on screen over here that all I have to do is bring this down like this, and it will bring it down on screen. If I bring it up, it's going to bring it up. As you can see, it's really easy to make volume adjustments. Now let's take a look at the audio options on screen here, and I'm going to show you how to set it up for gaming in combination with the picture-in-picture option. Let's do this. If we go to audio here and then input 1, you can see that it's on, and I have the volume all the way up, which is 0 dB. And I can, of course, add a delay if I'm using an analog sound source in combination with this, and you need to set an offset delay. But for everything going in via HDMI, I don't have to worry about it, which is awesome. At least not with my matched cameras. All right, if we go down to input number 2, you can see that it's off. Input number 3 is off, and input number 4 is all the way down. I've got it on, but all the way down. I can adjust channel 4's volume in one of 2 ways. If I want to set it up at a particular spot, I can go down to this volume control here and bring it up, and you should start to hear this come through the back, sort of like recording that you're listening to. And this is great. It means you can set up one volume behind another one, or have a good mix between them both. Whatever works. This is why this is also good for podcasting. Now you can see that the game footage over here is on input number 4. I think that's F0. So let's show you how to set up picture-in-picture. All right, I got my green screen or chroma keying out. So if you're a gamer or you like to react to videos and you want to sort of key out the background, you can do that with this as well. So I'm going to show you sort of how this works. You might be looking at the multi-view now, I'm not too sure. But all I need to do is go over to number 4, which will be the backdrop. And then I'm going to hit the on-air option for chroma. And then that's it. How easy is that? And of course, that's what it looks like normally. And this is what it looks like with the chroma keying. So you can see the studio back here, but if I had a green screen big enough to fill this out, or if I move the camera forward, it's going to look fine. Now, you can see that it's not quite perfect. So you can go into the menu system and configure this a little bit better. There's color here and then color picker as well. You can pick a color that's closer. Now, for the best results with green screens like this, you really need to light them properly. But yeah, this is just a quick example of how easy it is to get working. By raising the similarity up to 42, I was able to basically completely remove it. And right about 41 is the sweet spot. So now it looks nice and sharp. So just a few tweaks on the little dial on the unit here and I'm in business. This also supports up to 2 logos at the same time. So as you can see, we've got this special promo one on screen. And again, if I want to move it here, all I need to do is use the joystick and I can move this wherever I like. And then I can hit the logo button again and it will basically save it in that spot. If I turn it off, turn it back on, it's going to be on screen. The second logo you can see on screen over here is the Tony Northrup breaking news. Breaking news. Yeah, only camera nerds will get that joke. But anyway, you can see that it works nice and simply. And again, if I want to move it, I can use the joystick in combination with the button on the unit. Let's take a look at some of the output settings when it comes to the CineTreak Stream 1. So if we hit menu over here and we go over to settings, we can change things like the fan, which is good because actually I tell you what, it's hot today and it's always good having a fan. And this thing has, you know, it is getting quite warm under here. Not to the point where it's cooking me or anything like that, but it's definitely warming up. So yeah, I would say leave the fan on. I can barely hear it. I really have to lean in. I've got a fan on over here that's way louder than this. I can't hear this whatsoever. So that's cool. We've got our date and time, or you can reset all of that. Now, we've got our network settings here. DHCP is set to off. Now, if you're just getting started, set it to on, and you'll be able to find this on the network and fully control it via a browser. That's a really cool piece of functionality right there. If you want to set it up manually with an IP address, you can use the manual option or set DHCP to off. So it's pretty much set up for manual use as it is right now. If you own a pan tilt zoom camera, you can go into PTZ over here and set up to 4 pan tilt zoom cameras, and their IP address and all that kind of stuff can be set here. Now this is great. If you like to use them, it will interact with the joystick on the unit. And there's also a zoom plus and minus functionality over here. So it's very functional in that regard. Over in the port menu over here, you can change the orientation of the view. So you can change the multi-view from horizontal to vertical. So if you've got your monitor up vertically, you can switch it around that way. And you can also do the same with the stream view. The output source, you can see that I've got the auxiliary out to preview, which is what you're looking at right now on screen. And the program is what I'm seeing right on this little screen over here. Now, if we go down to output source, you can see that we've got all of these different frame rates that we can set up the switcher with. So there's 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, and 60 frames per second. So basically everything. Now, while you're recording, you can't actually change this because otherwise you're going to get a corrupt file. So yeah, set that up before you hit record and you're good to go. If you're streaming to YouTube, for example, make sure it's set to either 30 frames per second or 60. In the media option, you can see that I've got some options here to choose from. It says local, SD card, and USB. So if you've got a USB with some media, you plug it into the port on the back that my Super Nintendo Mini is being powered from right now, and it will allow you to pull files or see them in this view here. And then you can play them back to your audience using the auxiliary option on the switcher. Another really powerful feature here is pull stream, and this allows you to pull information to the switcher and share it with the audience. So if you're doing live reaction videos, they can work in conjunction with that if you don't just have it set up on a laptop, which I still think would be the easiest way to do it. But this option is pretty cool and you don't see it on too many switches. Now, another really cool thing about this unit is you can change the frame rate at which it records. So if you want to record at your native frame rate, for me, it's 25 frames per second, you can do so. And if you want to change the bit rate and get a higher recording quality, crank this all the way to 30. From the same menu, if you want to change the recording quality, you can crank it all the way up. Now I've got it recording right now, so it's currently set to 20, which is the default. This will be good enough for just sort of like social media and all that kind of stuff. One thing to take note of with the recording, it's just the program output. It's not going to give you each channel independently on the SD card at the end. So it doesn't do ISO or ISO recordings. It only will record the program. All right, it's 4 hours or so after I shot the rest of this video. I've edited everything else up just in a basic form to get a good sense of what everything looks like and how it performed, and it works excellent. Now, the cool thing about this is, unlike some less expensive switches I've tried, sometimes when you cut nice and fast between each view, it can glitch. I didn't see any of that on any of the footage, which is awesome. I did notice a slight recording glitch every now and then. It kind of looked like the frame rate was suffering slightly, but it was minimal and it recovered fine. So if you plan on using this for live streaming or recording, the output signal is going to look really good. Speaking of which, comparing it to the S5 Mark IIX that I'm shooting this shot with, I thought it did a really great job at keeping the integrity of the image of this camera intact. So no problems there in terms of image quality. One thing I did notice, the image is slightly more green than magenta, but that's about it. It doesn't crush the blacks. There's no weird stuff going on in the highlights or anything like that. So overall, the image out of this is really nice. The only other small complaint I have about this unit is this. This is the power cable. We get about a 1 meter cable, which is just not long enough for any situation. I had to run a massive extension cable with this one. Minor critique, but yeah, it's definitely worth mentioning. I hope they include a power cable that's a bit longer than this in the future. Now, if you're at a desk, it's not a big deal. You can just run a power board at the bottom. But just to let you know, where I had this set on the table, I couldn't run the power cord long enough to hit the ground. That's how short it is, so just keep that in mind. There's so much more to this unit than even what I showcased in this video, so I suggest you go check out a few more videos on this if you're thinking about getting into some of that extended functionality. I just want to give you a quick overview of how it works and what you can expect out of it. The menu navigation is fine, and I have no complaints there in terms of usability. If it wasn't blatantly obvious, I love the fact it's got an SD card slot on the side for recording, so you can put in a V30 SD card and record until your heart's content. Now let's talk about a few use case scenarios. So if you're someone who just wants to get live streaming online and have a couple of different angles, this is a really great solution. It'd be great for gamers, and I showcased that in this video. The Chroma Key worked better than most switches I've ever used, so that was really cool. While this is good for podcasting, it definitely doesn't have the extended audio tools like the ATEM Mini. So there's no limiter, there's no compressor, and all of the other tools that are built into the ATEM Mini. So if you want the best in audio quality, I would say the ATEM Mini might give you the best results, but if you've already got a great signal going into it via an XLR adapter on your camera, for example, then the audio quality on this is going to be great. Just know you're gonna have to use OBS or Open Broadcaster software or Ecamm Live or whatever you choose to stream with to get a little bit more audio flexibility out of this unit. But I love the fact you can mix channels, so it's not a problem there whatsoever. At the end of the day, this is a really powerful unit at a really compelling price. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below. Thanks again for watching. My name's Shane, and I will catch you on the next one. Catch you soon.